Hey everyone, RemanX here with a quick recap of the first half preview post. Kind of wanted to take the weekend to digest it. There was a lot of stuff going on in a personal life, and more importantly, just trying to sort through how I really felt about this blog. And well, let's get right into it. So the first half preview comes in, and we have to determine whether or not that all of this is just more pay-to-win mechanics in disguise. Well, and starting with things like costumes. So are costumes going to be a new feature coming to the game that are going to introduce more pay-to-win mechanics? Well, there is the possibility that stats or changing the way a character operates are hidden behind costumes, because we have examples of those in other games. Now, we did have a costume in this game for a limited time, right after the release of the Deadpool movie. We were able to play a gray skin Deadpool with his X-Force skin. So the idea is, will it have stats it didn't back then? And we will have to see what happens and how they implement it. And again, I guess them being vague on this and not making a statement about what it'll look like, if there will be stats attached to him at this point in time, kind of where we're all kind of in question. Now, even if it had minor stat increases, a lot of people play other games that are similar, where they give minor stat increases, things like like 1 or 2% crit, just something that adds a little bit of flair and increases the value of such an item. And a lot of the items, when they do so, are also available through achievements in game, so they're not just isolated rewards that you pay for. That being said, I understand the community's trepidation. For me, I do like the iconic nature of this game. We have seen many of our favorite characters represented in multiple different costumes throughout the Marvel Universe. It is vital that things like costumes allow our art department, who is probably the featured element of Marvel Strike Force, to really take and showcase their abilities. So remain to be seen what this does. Now, it'd be kind of cool if, let's say, you buy a costume and it changes like a finishing move and adds things like, special animations, because that'll increase the value without increasing the overall effectiveness. Just the cool factor alone to get a finishing move that looks cool. Just saying. So a couple of key, that's the Shadowlands, that's the Astonishing X-Men, Cyclops, and it looks like that's the Kree soldier. I want to say Captain Marvel. Not as familiar with that costume as I am with the other two iconic costumes. So obviously, like I said, for me, it is a potential positive. It keeps cosmetic items in the game that have other value besides adding to stats. Not a pay-to-win mechanic at all. A lot of games do that very well. So ISO 8 Tier 2. Now that is, I think, a lot of people's concern is that's the next level of power gain. It is potentially 10% or more stats if it follows the same linear progression that we already have in game with ISO level 1. These are 10% stat increases at level 5. If ISO level 2 has those same stat increases and is only available via the raid. Now, stay tuned. This is a strike. So what that means is, just like U7 came to the game in a different format, that very well may be that U7 will be a sneak preview for what will happen with the Doom raid. They may alter the way that it looks, the gating and progression based on a raid slider down the way. This allows them to make it more accessible to everyone, and also gate the content for endgame players so they don't have to change and add new content down the road. So stay tuned. I'm sure that'll be tweaked. But remember, we're playing a strike. It is a limited time raid. So the final iteration of a Doom raid maybe months down the road here. So ISO 8 Tier 2, endgame progression. I don't think they made a lot of money on ISOs. I'm going to be honest with you, that when I polled my Twitch audience, it seemed like while we loved ISOs, most of you guys didn't go out and buy them. You guys were farming them. They're relatively easy to farm, and they're such a great player friendly. So at the end of the day, you got to wonder if maybe they need to make money on this. So for me, seems cool. I like power gain to help overcome obstacles. I just get concerned if it's locked behind endgame content for too long. Cough, cough. Elite orbs. Orange elite orbs. We'll get into that later. So here's the point of contention. And for me, this was maddening that the Strike Pass came out, but then I sat back and I thought about it, and I'm like, wait a minute. Daily objectives could have been changed without selling us a pass, right? A second battle pass, right? And so the idea that there's 2 battle passes in a game isn't foreign, although a lot of those games, well, kind of got a bad reputation. You can Google them later on. I don't want to, speak ill of those games that have multiple battle pass components to them. Well, we'll see. Now, there could be an easy gate that a lot of the free-to-play are getting a sizable contribution to their roster, whether it be an alternative release method for characters, whether it's just gear and dailies 2.0. But the idea is, I get it. But you have to understand, if you're a free-to-play player, there is always going to be an offer that outrages you. Something where you're going to look at and you're like, why are they selling that? That's going to give the so-and-so player an advantage over me. My arena shard will change. That's the nature of these games. You have to decide if you can keep up by managing your resources and being the smarter player. That's why you guys will look towards content creators who will help you guys, guide you through this and help you figure this out. And the other problem you have is sometimes when there's too much value, you're looking around and feel like you're falling behind because you can't spend to keep up. And that is the mechanic that really is at play here. For me, while it seems cool, I think a lot of people are treating this with a lot of trepidation, and I don't blame you. We'll have to see how it's implemented. 2 ways they can go here. Exclusive original character. Now that's cool for them. Unless we're all getting it for free at 7 Red Star, or if they're going to sell us a character that, we've helped develop by paying for your game for 3 years and playing your game for 3 years, super cool. But unfortunately, from majority of communities, like, well, but what about the character I like that's already in the Marvel universe that I haven't seen yet? Well, see, for a developer, this is a stamp of approval. This is saying that Marvel says you're a significant piece of our Marvel universe. Welcome to the fold. Let's help build a character and help build a property that is your own, that will be written in the comics and be included in the Marvel universe. So I think it was Guillotine in Marvel Contest of Champions, maybe some others. I'm not as familiar with those characters, and that should tell you something, right? So cool. I'm sure a lot of us will be interested to see if we get a writer on staff who brings more flair to events. We'll have to see, but definitely cool. Just, is it impactful to us? A lot of people just didn't seem to care. I think it's cool, but then again, I kind of do this for a living. So improvements. Now this is where I thought was kind of the best thing for us as Marvel Strike Force players. It really made me feel like this was a long time coming. And so they announced that they're going to be adding tabs, which means whatever number of teams we're going to get in each one of the game modes, but then finally adding more saved roster slots as a stopgap until this is implemented. It's cool. I know you guys are probably listing like Arena, Blitz, and Raid. Well, why do you need... It's okay. I mean, they're saying as giving examples. I'm sure that might be subject to change. So Raid season milestones. This is kind of one of those things where a lot of people are reading between the lines. Yeah, you're gonna have to beat a certain degree of difficulty to get all the milestones. Be prepared to look at some of those as potentially something your alliance may not be able to get all of them the first go round, as you have to learn how to navigate these challenges based on, well, how many raids you can do and how far you progress. And so I gotta wonder if maybe they're going to use that to kind of stop the ticket hoarders. You guys know who you are. The number 1, 2 competition every alternating season. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Honestly, hopefully they get this right in its introduction of more rewards and an influx of resources for us to build our rosters, and not a bigger challenge to try to just complete it to get that end game G15 completed piece or that gold promotion credit at the end of the road that requires you to core through 4 raids at the start of every season and, spend the price of a family vacation to get through it. Well, we'll see. Rate key tracking, long time coming, is that a former Alliance leader and a long-time captain. These were always, important to kind of help us determine who's contributing. It's about time. Now, this is another one of those, oh my God, seems cool. I didn't really ask for it. I'm not sure I'm super excited about it, but it does take a character who's kind of been lost to our rosters, even though he's still pretty powerful. And adding something like red stars on characters like him, Doom, Ultimus. I said Doom. The potential for characters that don't currently have maximum red stars. This is also the possibility they can give us agency to also do it on other characters, but they used the language here, additional agency, so we'll see. I mean, it is addressing a portion of red stars and getting red stars for specific characters in the future. Little concerned what that means, but we'll have to take a look and redeemed over a period of time. We'll see. It might be retroactive, so the Krakens will have access to. I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to say, and that's the problem. Is we're looking at this and everybody's imagining their worst fear and nightmare when we read each one of these and going, well, this is the worst that will happen. API, it's great. It's a limited capacity. In its early days, and I get it, it's just people you trust with it, so something that hopefully they'll release to everyone down the road, but I'm glad you're using and working with your trusted partners over at msf.gg, and so it looks like that's where we'll probably start there. So all these things are in production. Now, production might mean different things depending on your industry. Well, production typically means these are things that teams are actively engineering and either have near completion or have ideas of when they'll be done. So all these things that are in production have target release dates of close to the current time period into 6 months from now. So to give you an idea, they revisit this probably at some point in July or August and say, here are the things we promised, here's what we delivered, here's what we missed. But they kind of wanted to say some under review things. So all these other things are happening, but Alliance War is something that they're definitely looking at and trying to get right. And the Realtime Arena, which a lot of people are like, but why? Why is Realtime Arena not being something that you're having here? Yeah, it's just, please make it a mode that's fun. There are a lot of ways and suggestions to do that. So let's take it, right? Let's take it right here. Why is Realtime Arena an afterthought when you know it's a hot pain point for a lot of us because so many decent rewards are gated behind it? You have frustration boiling over into Reddit and to Twitter. And this is a lot of, I think, where a lot of us are feeling that frustration in the game right now is Realtime Arena. So, yeah. Well, I guess stay tuned for next week's player response to player concerns for more information. I guess maybe that's why they released this, is so that we can kind of pick it apart. Because if we had released the player concerns and then released the roadmap and we were like, wait a minute, we're missing a lot more details, well, then I guess that is something they probably would have missed. So, yeah, realistically, I'm hopeful, but frankly, I'm not confident that things are going to meet the way that we really want or need them to. So I remain ever engaged in the community, and I wish everybody could have as much fun when new characters came out as I do. And I really feel your pain when I'm showing a 600k X-Men team, autoing the Doom Raid, knowing that it's months to years before you can do the same. So it really is important to kind of understand that with everything coming out, we're gonna try to help you navigate all the new elements of what you need to go through, so we can help you find and pick the teams that are going to be relevant for you. Get that meta busting team that comes out, so you can get the Black Order 2.0 on your roster as soon as possible. Remember, I do things that you don't have to. Shadowland is almost done. Stay tuned for next week's response, which should be a lot faster than this week's. Catch you soon. Love you much.